Hey guys, welcome to Arian's review, and in today's video we'll be looking at more audio players, which is namely my two players that I have, which is the Sony WM-1EZ and the SP1000. But mainly today it's just looking at the SP1000 user interface. And you're probably thinking, why am I doing a video on the user interface? Well, I think it's actually the best time to actually invest in the sterling curve, due to the fact that they're about to release an Sp2000 in July. So I think it's perfect timing for those who are thinking of buying the latest, highest spec model that you can get from sterling curve. Now is the time, because the user interface of the Sp2000 will be similar to the Sp1000, with one or two minor changes as far as I know, which is the call option when you actually press the screen then, which I will show you in a minute. Obviously it's not available with the Sp1000. And the reason I have my Sony WM-1EZ here is, well, I have both right now, I might as well show you a comparison of the boot up, of how fast each one boots up. Both of them have the latest firmware. Sony, I did hesitate to upgrade the firmware, but according to some friends and dealers, they have told me that the latest firmware does provide a faster boot time, and I do agree with that. It boots up much quicker than before, and that is only the reason I'm comparing them in that way. I know they're not phones, so I shouldn't be comparing what is the boot up time, because once you boot it up, you use it like normally. But I do still feel that the Sony WM-1EZ does have a fast user interface once the firmware has been upgraded. And also, with people who are thinking of buying the Sp1000, now is also the good time maybe to catch yourself a second-hand one, due to the fact that there is lots of people getting rid of the Sp1000 in preparation to buy the Sp2000. So some perfect timing for you to actually invest in an sterling current Sp1000 or the Sp2000. Some of you probably will just jump right into the very top end and just buy the Sp2000, because this is the latest model, and it will probably last you for 1 or 2 years before they release another one again. And for those of you who are thinking of buying a second-hand one, or even a slightly cheaper model one, when they, I mean, to be honest, right guys, once they have released the Sp2000, it is most likely the Sp1000 will come down in price. It could be the fact that you're able to get the same Sp2000 at that cost, but with the Sp1000 they might include the amp as well, because as I said, the amp is coming out next month. Okay, anyway, let's get started with this user interface test, and as I said, I'll demonstrate what is the boot up time for both of these top players. I mean, right now the top player for these currently right now, Sp1000, which costs us about right now 22,000, 23,000 Hong Kong dollars. It was originally about just under 30,000. The Sony WM-1EZ, currently you can probably find it for about 18,000 Hong Kong dollars. Previously it was about, I think, just slightly under 25,000. Both of these could be a little bit similar, but I probably do want to have a video of all the players that I have used or tested, to show you where the dynamics are from one player to the other player. So let's get started with the user interface and boot up time. So we're going to turn on both machines to see how fast they turn on from starts. Please note that both players right now are using the latest firmware that is available from each company. In order to turn on the Sony, you need to press the top button here, and in order to turn on the Sp1000, you push in the power button. So I'm going to count to 3 and to turn it on. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Obviously, once you've turned it on, it doesn't matter because both of these last quite long. As you can see, the sp1000 is already ready to use, but as I mentioned, with the Sony new firmware update, it is slightly faster. But then again, I do have 512 gigabytes of memory in this player, so that could take a little bit of time, because what it's doing right now is actually reading some of the files. But obviously, the bigger the memory card, the longer it might take to create that list from the memory card. So with the sp1000, super fast. With the Sony, I recall it used to be slightly faster, but I have inserted my 512 gigabyte memory card onto this player, which is the reason why it's taking slightly longer than it previously was. And obviously with the sp1000, it has 200 gigabytes of micro SD card inside and 256 gigabyte internal storage. This also has 256 gigabyte of also internal storage. Right, so coming to the main part of this video, the objective is to learn about the user interface of the sp1000 as to prepare you when you actually buy an sp1000, for those who are looking to buy one in the second-hand markets, and also for those who are purchasing the latest from Astel & Kern, which is the sp2000. For those who are looking to purchase a second-hand sp1000 from someone, it's very important that you thoroughly test the machine to see if it works. This is actually my third sp1000 that I purchased, and all of them has been copper versions. Yes, I've purchased 3 of these for different reasons. I've sold it and then purchased another one and sold it again. The first one, obviously, the one I purchased was second-hand, so slightly cheaper than what I would pay for retail price. So just to confirm, the sp1000 does not come with this case. It is the Dignus case. I want to show you, for those who are purchasing a second-hand sp1000 or a brand new sp2000, that in order to test it thoroughly, you need to make sure that you have a micro SD card with songs that you like, as to test your machine for those who are buying second-hand. The next thing you should probably know is that you probably need a pin as to remove your or insert your micro SD card, just to make sure that your micro SD card slot works and that you're able to thoroughly test the player for its sound quality, you know, just to make sure that everything is working 100%. Other things that you might want to check is are there any scratches, or is there any oxidization? As I mentioned, if you're going for the copper one, oxidation might take place. I have seen shops in DMA, such as DMA, which is one of the Hong Kong retail store that sells in-ear monitors and headphones and audio gear, to have slightly markings. As I mentioned, these ones don't, or the one that I have has already been covered in plastic. This is the reason why this one looks quite new. Obviously, for those who are buying the sp2000, the memory card slot is actually down here, okay, and not up here, so they've changed location. And also the sp2000 does not have this connector, as I recall, and in the back it does not have this, because there is no amp coming for the sp2000, because it is powerful enough to drive what it needs to. That is roughly. And also one more thing about the buttons on the side. If you're buying the sp2000, the buttons is horizontal with 3 sides, like exactly the SE100 that Astel & Kern has. So no longer round buttons anymore. And again, USB-C charging with 2.5mm and 3.5mm. And as I know many of you will be asking, why have they not upgraded to the 4.4mm? Well, remember, that's for Sony, and Astel & Kern prefers 2.5mm. Okay. Right, we're now coming to the user interface. I'm going to put it back into the case. The sp1000 does come with a leather case in red. With the sp2000, there will be a leather case too. Sadly, I have not seen that case. For those who are thinking of purchasing the Can Cube, yes, there is also a leather case. And for those who are buying the sp1000 and then possibly purchasing the sp1000 amp, which is coming out in June, yes, there is also a leather case included with it, which is fantastic. Generally, when I purchased the AK380, there was no leather case, so you have to buy an extra one externally, and that would have costed extra money. Now they have seemed to be doing a better job at Sterling Kern, as now they provide leather case with amp, with player. So yes, it saves you a bit of money, especially me who likes to keep my items brand new. Right, so here is what the user interface is like. Yes, you are able to use the Sony remote, which I've done a video of before. Yes, you are able to install any app which is Android onto this player. That means ones that they are not supposed to install. And yes, I have a video of that too. Right, so what you need to do is there is a home button here if you want to go back to this main screen. This is actually the main screen. So under here there is actually touch sensitive part where you press. So if I were to show you here, if you press that Sterling Kern, it gives you a couple options, which is the AK Connect apps, which allows you to control it wirelessly. You're able to view the songs, the album, the artist, genre. You can create a playlist. There's a folder, MQS, that is for looking for master quality sound, I think, as I recall. You can have a CD library, you can have services, and your settings. Generally, the way that I like to look after my song is to keep it in as a folder. So here, if I go in, you'll see that once I press folder, there is 227 gigabytes available internally. With this one, as I mentioned, there's 200 gigabytes, but obviously some space is used, which is why it's 183.31 gigabytes. To be honest, I think that's plenty enough, but obviously, as I mentioned, if you purchase the Sp2000, internally it comes with 112 gigabytes, and yes, you're able to install a micro SD card like the one that I've done with my Sony, which is also another 512. So in total, you could have 1000 gigabytes. Remember, the songs that you download or buy do take a lot of space. I mean, some songs that I own, possibly with one song maybe 100 megabytes already, depending which quality you go for. So if I go in internal storage, I like to keep it in a folder called music. There is a reason why I keep it in a music folder, because for the Sony players, in order for you to recognize where the songs are, it must be contained inside a music folder. Okay, so once I've created a music folder, that is how Sony is able to recognize their songs inside that. Obviously, the reason I have this is because when I go out to test machines, Sony requires your songs to be inside a music folder. Obviously, with the Sp1000, it doesn't need to be inside the music folder. It can be right on the very top, so that you can find your songs. So for me, I have contained several folders, which is my Chinese songs, English songs, fourth one, which is a radio program that I listen to, that I record on my laptop. That's another fourth one. Japanese, it's Korean. Now, which is now albums, original soundtrack. I do listen to some podcasts, and yes, you're able to do Spotify, which means record Spotify songs onto here. This BTS, Chinese, and other things as well. And roughly that is what I like. So if you want to go into podcasts, there are some podcasts here. You can press this button to go back. Alternatively, as I said, if you want to go back to the main screen, you can press the home button, and as you can see, it takes you back to the main screen. This is where it is. You're allowed to add. Yep. At the moment, that doesn't do anything. Here is file info. If I press the middle button, this is to repeat once, repeats off. This is the shuffle, not shuffle. I can press here what is playing. So let's just assume that I'm playing this song right now. Nope, I have to choose one. So let me go back. As I mentioned, I prefer folder. So let's just choose something. Music, English. Let's do Adele. I'm not listening through it right now. Okay, there's the Dell 19. So if I said press here, gives you the list of Adele from that album, so you're able to choose. If I press this again, I can erase it. So if I press this button, I can then press delete, which I don't want to do right now. Let's go back to the Estelle and Sharon button. I'm able to view a songs. So this is a list of songs. If I press this button, changes. I can look through it by album. And yes, you are able to view it as this with pictures. So if I press here, you can see this is a 3x3 arrangement. I can arrange it as 2. I arrange it as a list, and I think it goes back again. So you decide which way you like it. That's for albums. You can look at it by artist, genre, playlist, folder, MQS, which looks for the highest quality, which is MQS or DSD, depending if you have DSD files. I do have some DSD files. Could be by album, by artist. CD library, which I don't have any, except actually that I do have one. Okay, so it's Chinese. Going back, I have services which I've showed you. That is to install MX Player, Spotify. Yes, MX Player is not one you're supposed to install. It allows me to watch videos on my Sp1000. I'm not sure if they will take away this functionality when they upgrade the firmware for the Sp1000 app, because I'm sure that they will be asking you to upgrade the Sp1000 firmware as to be able to use the amp, so they might disable this function, and that includes the Sony remote that is not supposed to work with this Sp1000. But the the Sony remote is super cheap, unlike in comparison to the one that they offer themselves. Again, I've done that in a video before, okay? So you might want to take a look at my other videos. Going down here, I have settings. I have Wi-Fi, I can turn on Bluetooth, I can have EK, there's equalizer, there's gapless, line out, balance, playback settings. There is a CD ripper that you are allowed to, that is from AK, that allows you to rip songs onto the Sp1000. I've not tried that, so I'm not going to say anything much. There's 2 versions, by the way, of the CD ripper. There's an old one and a newer one. The new ones you can buy about maybe 7,500 second hands, give or take. Screen brightness, date and time, device name, language, input method, timer settings, downloads, updates, system information, system resets, so all that. And if I were to, there's another way of actually accessing these menus quickly. If I were to slide from the very top downwards, it has more options. This is to select the brightness. You're able to turn on the Wi-Fi, like so, quickly. This is to turn on the Bluetooth. I have Bluetooth on. As I mentioned, there is a Sony remote that I use with this player, so I don't have to take it out of my pocket as to change songs. There's equalizers, there's USB mode, there is external USB. If I scroll along, there is AK Connect, line out, gapless, wheel lock, and settings. Now with the Sp2000, I think there is this newer icon, which is a car icon. So yes, with the Sp2000, there is a new icon at the very top, which is like a car icon. I am not sure what it does yet, but I read somewhere that is what that new icon is. I've also seen people using a floating icon, which is available in Sp1000. You can do this by going to settings and going to input method, and then you can have a floating back button, which I'll show you right now. You can see from here, that is the floating back button. Generally I don't use that, but that is the floating back button. And as I might as well show you that this is the pause and play button, back and next track. nothing much at the very bottom. This case, as I mentioned, protects everything, including here, because the Sterling Kern one does not protect this top part here. And yeah, I'm hoping that the Sp2000, the case is slightly better. At the moment it looks identical to this player, except with the back of the Sp2000 there's a bit of black here, and then it's all copper. And remember, there's only two versions of the Sp2000, which is stainless steel and copper. My interest would probably be the stainless steel. As you can see, that I have already got the copper, so I will not go for copper again, as my intention is to keep this copper Sp1000 that I do have. There's no point in selling it, because if I sell it I'll be losing a lot of money anyway. And that is generally how the Sp1000 interface is like. As you can see, the boot up time was very quick. It does do fast charge, so you're able to charge it quickly. And I'm hoping that with the Sp2000 it should be another upgrade in quality in comparison with the Sp1000, because it does have higher outputs of power for both of the 3.5 and 3.5 millimeter and the 2.5 millimeter. But obviously I will first of all test the Sp1000 amp first and give you a feedback if it's recommended for you to upgrade. Obviously with the Sp1000 amp there are free versions, due to the fact there's actually free version of the Sp1000, which is stainless steel with one sound signature, and in the middle we have the black onyx, which retains a bit of the sound signature from the stainless steel and incorporates a bit the warmness of the vocals of the copper version. And then on the other extreme we would then have possibly, like here, the copper version. And if you want something which is even more warmer and has, well, slightly same vocal, but I would say probably the instrument separation in the Sp1000 is slightly better. But as I said, if you want to go a bit more spectrum, and on the other end of this side would be possibly the Sony WM1EZ, which is the other one that I have. So my intention is to probably go with the stainless steel as my next target, and then retain the Sony 1EZ and then Sp1000, and then go with the other sound. I'll go to the other side for a slight change of sound signature. Roughly, that is all I want to talk about on the Sp1000 or Sp2000. For those who are thinking of upgrading, yes, you might want to sell your player quickly because money is dropping or coming down on the Sp1000. For you to be ready to purchase your Sp2000 when it comes out in July, retailing about $3,500 US, which is about the same price when the Sp1000 came out. Hong Kong right now with the Sp1000 second-hand price is probably 13,000 Hong Kong dollars to 14,000 to 12,000, depending on the condition of that player. And as I mentioned, the amp is coming up soon, and that's, I recall, is $800 US, which converts back to about possibly 6,000-ish Hong Kong dollars. So a right time to probably start thinking about purchasing or upgrading your Sterling Kern music player. It is quite portable. Oh, remember, when you buy the amp, it's going to add 200 grams onto your weight of this current player. Okay, and as I mentioned, I've done a review of what to expect on the Sp2000 if you look at my other videos. Well, anyway, this for today for audio. I've got other things coming up, such as audio in-ear monitors, which could be universal or custom. I do actually own 3 in-ear monitors, which I'll probably talk about in a future video. Anyway, thanks for watching. Do hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you again in the next video. Thanks for watching, guys.